What's going on? Welcome to the 2021 edition of the Off the Schneid preview series, where I'll be going over all 32 NFL teams, breaking down their roster, schedule, giving you a record prediction, as well as helping out with some betting tips. If this is your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button, and if you like what you hear, go ahead and smash that like button as well. Don't forget to check the description for links for the Off the Schneid social media and interact with me directly. I want to give a massive shout out to OurLads Scouting Services and OurLads.com, as all roster and depth chart graphics are straight off their site. If you've never been, go check them out immediately. I use their site for all NFL, fantasy, and betting purposes, and there's a link in the description for their site. Again, do me a huge favor and hit that like and subscribe button, but enough of that, let's get to your favorite NFL football preview. Taking a look at the Arizona Cardinals, we will start at quarterback like we always do. We got Kyler Murray here, former first overall selection, third-year quarterback. Obviously, very, very good, budding superstar type of a guy. He can do a lot of different things for this team. Gets himself out of trouble, can scramble, can do design runs, beat linebackers to the pylon and get first downs when needed. Plays well, throws well off the run, which is good for him and for this team, obviously. So I would be very, very happy with your quarterback position moving forward for the next 10 years if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan. They go ahead and bring in Colt McCoy. I think that was absolutely necessary to bring in a guy that can play. I'm sorry, but the former CFL Chris Streveler just can't throw the ball in the NFL. I'm sorry. I think we saw that in the game and a half or whatever it was that he actually got in last year. I think they needed to add a capable backup, and Colt McCoy is just like that prototypical guy that's going to be, a leader in the locker room, help mentor Kyler Murray, and can absolutely come in and play like we saw last year with the Giants. So great acquisition there, bringing in Colt McCoy. We'll move over to the running back position. Chase Edmonds kind of takes over. I'm not going to say as like the bell cow, three. I do see him as a 3-down back, but I'm not going to say that he's a bell cow and will get all the carries as well as the receiving targets out of the backfield. He does, moves over to the slot sometimes. He caught 50 plus balls last year. And ran for, I think, 400 yards. Obviously, there's about almost 1,000 yards, 950 yards gone with Kenyon Drake. I do think that Chase Edmonds can gobble a fair amount of that up. I don't think he's, getting quite the respect that he should be, in my opinion. I liked a lot of the stuff that he was doing last year. He played in the bigger situations. They were coming back in a lot of games as far as I can recall, and he was always on the field in those situations. So I think he takes a step forward, and I think there's lots of room for him to grow with this offense. And then they bring in James Conner to be that kind of goal line, pound it between the tackles type of a guy while he's healthy. They do have Jonathan Ward still there. He hasn't really played for this team, so we'll see what he does. Eno Benjamin comes back in his second season. He didn't really play too much last year either. So one of those two guys is going to get a shot to get some kind of carries and a little bit of production, some real reps. Obviously, preseason is going to be big for that, third and fourth on the depth chart for running back, and potentially even second if James Conner, gets hurt, which I fully expect at some point. No offense to James Conner. It's just he hasn't been able to stay healthy in the league. It's just a fact. So there you go. Move over to the tight ends. Dan Arnold's gone. I don't know why they let him go. I would have brought him back. It made a lot of sense. He played that kind of Jay Sternberger role in this offense. And former wide receiver. One of those, I've been talking about it a little bit, and I'll continue to talk about it as these go on. There's an evolution happening, I feel like, with the tight end position. You got guys like Kyle Pitts, Jacob Harris, Dan Arnold, guys like that are, big body former wide receivers that can play that move tight end position where they're not, asked to block much. So we'll see. Obviously, that position doesn't really exist anymore with the Arizona Cardinals, but I'm really interested to see where that position kind of goes. Max Williams obviously comes back. He's going to be, an inline blocker a fair amount, but I mean, he can catch the ball if need be, and like play action, bootlegs, rollouts, things like that, where, he can slip out and kind of get lost in zone coverage, especially, and just sit down and potentially catch some touchdown passes. I don't see much fantasy value at the tight end position for this team, but real life value I think will absolutely be there. And I could see him scoring some big touchdowns for this team. Not a lot of them, but some big moment touchdowns, because he, it's unexpected and he can kind of, sneak out, get lost, just sit down, catch the ball, 1 yard touchdown kind of a thing. But we'll see how it shakes out. We'll move over to the wide receivers. Obviously they bring in AJ Green. I don't suspect that he's going to be a starter on this offense. I really don't. I think 3 wide receiver sets are going to look like DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, and then Rondale Moore in the slot. Former second round pick Andy Isabella has kind of just been sitting there waiting for his shot to play, obviously behind Larry Fitzgerald, who sounds like he's going to retire this year. Maybe he comes back. I don't know. I'm not super concerned about it right now. I honestly don't think that the Cardinals are going to bring him back. I think that if he is going to play this year, it's going to be for another team. And does he want to do that? I highly doubt it. I fully expect Larry Fitzgerald to retire. But we'll see. Maybe he does come back. But either way, I still think that that's how it's going to look. I think he'd be just a kind of rotational guy and just hoping to win a ring with these vets that came in and are already there. So yeah, that's kind of how I see the offense lining up, and those guys getting the lion's share of the reps. I could definitely see Andy Isabella being in there as well, and being there in 4 wide receiver sets, depending. Obviously, AJ Green could be in there too. They got a lot of options. Even Keyshawn Johnson's still there, who I like a fair amount. Not, like he's going to be some sort of world beater. He's not going to be fantasy relevant, nothing like that. But Keyshawn Johnson can get the job done if you really need a guy. And I expect him to be that, 6th wide receiver, make the team. And the rest of the guys I don't see making this team. So there you go. Move over to the offensive line. Pretty good position. They were top 10 in sacks allowed, which is a very good stat. Obviously, a fair amount of that is Kyler Murray scrambling, getting his own yards, getting back to the line of scrimmage, that kind of a thing. So it's a little bit skewed, but it shouldn't and doesn't take away from this offensive line that is actually quite a bit improved, in my opinion, coming into this season. Kelvin Beachum comes back, who ended up playing right tackle for this team. Wasn't expected to, but played well. They reward him and bring him back. Rodney Hudson comes in after, the Raiders completely blew up their whole offensive line for whatever reason. So that's a fantastic get. Max Garcia comes in. They still got Josh Jones, last year's 3rd round pick, who had 1st round talent, in my opinion. I had him going as a 1st rounder in my mock draft. He's still there to be basically a swing tackle. Shaq Calhoun is there. Michael Manette was a 7th round pick who had, 4th, 5th round talent, who could end up being, down the line, a starter on this offensive line. And at the very least right now, he's like a swing interior guard center. He can do a lot of things. Same with Max Garcia. They got a lot of options and a lot of depth. So I definitely like this offense as a whole. Cliff Kingsbury obviously calling the offensive plays. That's quality. So we'll see how this all shakes out, and who ends up getting the lion's share of everything. I think obviously in the passing game and the receptions and yards goes to DeAndre Hopkins, but we'll see how it goes in the running game. And I could see Kyler Murray potentially surpassing that 1,000 rushing yards, and 4,000 passing yards as well. He was pretty close to there last season. I think he takes that next step. Move over to the defensive side of the ball. Vance Joseph, for my money, he's one of the better defensive minds in the game. As long as he has the pieces, which I think he probably will this year, with the exception at corner. So we'll start at corner, I suppose. Might as well. I just segued into it. Byron Murphy's there, former 2nd round pick 2 years ago. I really do like him. I think he's great in the nickel. Malcolm Butler comes in from Tennessee. He's getting up there, but can do some good things. So this is where I think they struggle, is especially in the passing game. I think they have the pieces there to absolutely stop the run and be great in the in run defense. but I think they're going to be susceptible to, getting passed on quite a bit, which was similar narrative to last season for the Cards. Budda Baker is one of the best, if not the best safety in the game right now. So that's fantastic. Charles Washington, I like James Wiggins. I like that draft pick quite a bit. Deontay Thompson, those guys can still get the job done. Looks like Sean Williams is there. That guy's, savvy vet as well. So they're okay as far as safeties are concerned, especially obviously with Budda Baker, like I just said. But I think guys like, Robert Alford, even Malcolm Butler, Tay Gowan, they did bring in Darqueze Dennard, obviously from Atlanta. That's a great get. You might as well. I think he's a former first-round pick, I believe. Being a Bengals fan, I can't remember off the top of my head if I'm being honest. But either way, that's a good guy to bring in, good savvy vet that can get the job done. But I do think that that's going to be the point of weakness on this defense. So yeah, take it for what you will, but that's kind of how I look at it. I think they're going to be very, very stout against the run and a little bit susceptible to getting tossed downfield on. But move over to towards the line. Zaven Collins, first round pick this year. He's going to be able to do a lot of different things along with Isaiah Simmons. So again, in the running game, they're going to be able to do, I guess I shouldn't say in the running game. I should just say on defense in general, those guys provide a lot of flexibility. Those two players specifically provide a lot of flexibility for Vance Joseph. And with Budda Baker, I suppose, I can throw him in there as well. Those three guys can do a lot of things, a lot of different things, and a lot of the same things, and a lot of great things. So realistically, moving forward, I look at that as, the backbone of this defense is those three players. I wouldn't say Chandler Jones and JJ Watt are going to be the backbone of this defense for the next, 5 years. I think those three guys are absolutely going to be that for them. And then they'll worry about, what the future holds as far as that's concerned with Watt and Jones. So as far as getting after the quarterback there, obviously we know who JJ Watt is. He's one of my favorite players in the league. I have his Funko around here somewhere, but either way, JJ Watt is phenomenal. Former two-time, I think, back-to-back defensive player of the year. Chandler Jones, former 20 plus, I believe he had one season where he was 20 plus sacks. So you got two guys that have had 20 plus sacks in the NFL on the same team, playing at the same time. Very dangerous, very, very dangerous. Along with, Marcus Golden, 6th round pick, Victor Dimukeji comes in. I like him. Devin Kennard can still get it done. Dennis Gardeck led this team in sacks last year. Chandler Jones, obviously, J.J. Watt, Rashard Lawrence, I like, Jordan Phillips, Lekki Fotu, Zach Allen, a lot of talent up there, which again, that's why I said what I said in stopping the run. I think that they're going to be very, very good at it. So I think, it's not necessarily like a pick your poison. It's just pick on their weakness, for opposing teams. I think opposing teams are definitely going to look to throw the ball against this team. And we'll see how Vance Joseph can kind of react and, lock it down and keep his team in it, kind of a thing. You don't want to get in a position where you're playing tons of shootouts, because that's kind of where they were last year, and it didn't really work out for them. Young quarterback, and they had a few deficiencies. They may have shored them up this year, but you don't want to ever be playing catch up realistically. So there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments on the whole roster breakdown there. I don't think I really missed anything, so we'll move over to the record prediction and break down the schedule for the Cards. 9-8, there you go. Low, high, my 9-8. I see. I mean, if you watch all these NFC West, breakdowns, I think I have the Cardinals with the lowest kind of floor and the lowest ceiling as well. And it's not because I don't like this team. I actually really, really, really do like this Cardinals team. I really do. I'm not going to lie. There's a small concern with coaching with Cliff Kingsbury. There is a small concern there. He was a losing coach before he got this job, and hasn't had a winning season yet. So, I'm not going to say that that's like the narrative and that's the issue here. I'm just saying it's a small concern. But But the biggest issue that I have, the biggest reason why I have them, with the lowest ceiling and whatnot, is their schedule. They have the best odds, the highest odds to win the division, 6.5 to 1. So, clearly I'm not out to lunch here. I do have all these teams in the NFC West finishing above 500. It's happened quite a bit in the past where all 4 teams in the division finish, 8-8 or better. Obviously, we're in a 17-game season this year, so and I might be a little, playing a little conservative. I don't know what you want to call it, not conservative, but I don't know. I guess hedging my bet. I don't know what you want me to say, but I just think all these teams are very good, and I think this division is very, very much up in the air. And I just truly think that it's going to come down to the first quarter of the season. And then the fourth quarter. I know they're not quarters anymore, 17 games, but I look at the first quarter and the fourth quarter of the seasons for all of these teams and think that, I truly think that that's what's going to decide this division. And I just think that the Arizona Cardinals first and fourth quarters are very, very tough. And I think it's going to be very tough for them to end up on top in this division. Not saying they can't make the playoffs. I'm not saying they can't do that. I'm just saying it's going to be tough to win this division. So let's start in week 1 on the road against Tennessee. I like the Titans to win that game. That's a very, very, very improved Tennessee Titans team on the road. First opening day game, in that stadium, Nissan Stadium, I believe. That's going to be a tough game. And I think they're going to be able to throw the ball all over this team. What did I just say at the end of the episode, or the end of the roster breakdown there? Then at home against the Minnesota Vikings, again, to me, that's a very, very tough game. I was low on the Vikings last year, but said that they would get right back to the playoffs this season. Now I'm starting to back the Vikings. I think they're a very good team. They're very improved. I think that's a winnable game for the Vikings, but, and that's also obviously going to decide where they sit on the low, high, my come season's end type of a thing. On the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think that they get that win. I think they're a good enough team to beat the Jags, but I don't think it's going to be just a cakewalk either. So, winnable game, and one that they absolutely should win. On the road against the Rams, I think they probably split with the Rams, Seahawks, and Niners. I've done that with all 4 of these division teams. That's why I think it's so close. I think they all can beat each other. I'm just going home and home split for all 4 just to make it easy and have it make sense. And I think that's not out of line at all. I think all 4 of these teams could all beat each other any given Sunday type of thing. So there you go. At home against the 49ers, I think they can definitely get that win. On the road against the Browns, I think they do not win that game. That's going to be a very, very tough game against a very, very good Browns team. So I don't expect them to get that win. At home against the Houston Texans, I say it in every one of these, everyone's going to beat the Texans. They get that win, obviously, especially at home. At home against the Green Bay Packers on a short week, which is pretty key, because that's not a super short travel day for the Packers. If Aaron Rodgers is not on that team, I expect him to be on that team. But if he is not, I think the Cardinals get that win, no problem. If he's not on that team, if he is on that team, which I do expect, it's still a very winnable game at home on a short week. Back-to-back home games, I think is very winnable. It's a tough game, very tough game, and it's going to decide the low, high, my, but it's very winnable. On the road against the 49ers, let's go with the split. At home against the Panthers, that's an interesting game just because I feel like the Panthers are going to be throwing the ball a ton, and what is my concern with this team? There you go. But I do think that they get that win. I expect them to get that win. They're the better team overall, but it's not going to be a cakewalk in my opinion. On the road against the Seattle Seahawks, split, they take that loss. Week 12 bye week, great bye week to have for a potential playoff team. Depends on where they sit, at that time. And that'll tell a lot about their season, where they're at their bye week. They're going to know who they are. They're going to know where they're hopefully going or what they have to do to get there, kind of a thing. On the road against the Chicago Bears, I think these teams are actually quite similar. I just think that the Cardinals are much better. I think they're similar, but the Cardinals are much, much better. So I fully expect the Cardinals to go into Chicago and be able to get that win. At home against the Rams, again, the home and home split, they take that one. On the road against the Detroit Lions, I think they beat the Lions badly. I think everybody beats the Lions pretty handily, so there you go. At home against the Colts, tough game. That's going to be a tough one. We'll see. We'll see. It's very winnable, very, very winnable at home, especially because, you know, what the Colts are going to try to do throughout the season is what I think the Cardinals are going to be very good at, and that's stopping the run. Are they going to be able to pass the ball efficiently enough against the Cardinals, especially on the road? I don't particularly think so. I think they can definitely get that win against the Colts. On the road against the Dallas Cowboys, tough game. I think the Cowboys are going to get that win. I really do. I think it might end up being a bit of a shootout, but I think it's one that you know, the Cowboys can win, especially at home. So we'll give them that, especially near the end of the season where it's probably going to be a must-win type of a game for both these teams. But again, at home, I think I'll give Cowboys the edge. And then at home against the Seattle Seahawks, very potential. I've said it in all these, very potential that decides this division. Again, I'm not betting that it does, but it's possible. It's a home game for the Cardinals, so winnable game. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be an interesting game, an interesting season. I mean, I guess I just, you know, considering I just said the final quarter of the season is going to be tough for them, I do potentially see them winning 3 or 4 games there. So, you know, but it's more the first half, even, like I said, half of the season. Green Bay, Browns, Niners, Rams, you know, Niners again. Everything before their bye is pretty tough games. So like I said, when I got to their bye week, we're really going to know who they are, and we're really going to know what they're going to have to do in order to get to where they want to go. And where they want to go is the playoffs. So we'll see. I think that they improve either way. I think they improve as a team and record-wise, but I'm just not so sure that they're going to get there. I very much agree with the odds given by the odds makers on this. I very, very much agree that is the order. So take it for what you will, but there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments on that. There's your breakdown, record prediction, roster, depth chart, everything you need to know to get you ready for the season if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan.